You're not really sure.
Welcome back to the broadcast. Okay, last night Lisa and I had the chance to get an advanced screening of the new film called Labor Day. Take a look at this.
It's a good peach.
We should throw most of them away before they rot.
I have another idea.
Oh, yeah. Don't you love when he just gets up in there with his hands and those peaches? Ah, Joyce Maynard, who is the author of Labor Day. The film is actually based on a book by the same name, and author Joyce Maynard, she's here in our kitchen to bake pie and talk about the book and talk about the movie
I'm
on
so
National
thrilled.
Pie Day.
I know it. Who knew?
I am in love with your characters. You did
Well,
such
so
a
am I,
beautiful
you know.
job. And
What I do, Lisa, when I write a book, the first person I'm writing a story for is me, and I want to fall in love.
Yeah.
And I'm a grown-up, so I didn't want some 24-year-old love story.
But
I wanted a mature
love story.
You know, a story for some people with some miles on them. And so the story, as you know, is
now let's share with everyone.
Single mom, played by Kate Winslet, living in a small town.
Beautiful.
With her
beautiful job by Kate Winslet.
Beautiful. Well, when is she not? Living in a small town with her 13-year-old son, and she doesn't get out a lot, but she goes back to school shopping, and this man comes up to her at the store and basically says, "You got to take me home." It doesn't hurt that he's Josh Brolin, but she does. And he turns, I'm not giving anything away, as you know, but he turns out to be an escaped convict, and over the course of this long, hot Labor Day weekend, where they're holed up at her house, they fall in love. And one of the things that he does, a neighbor brings by some peaches, and he says, "I'm going to make a pie
He's
for you."
basically, he ends up to be, he goes from being a convict to being like the perfect man, because he gets in there and he's cooking and he's
There we are.
baking, and
There I am teaching Josh and Kate. Somebody had to do it. It was a rough job.
Now, I'm curious, Joyce, did you have a hand in picking these characters?
You know, not officially. I mean, really, when Jason Reitman, wonderful director, called me up and said, "I read this book, I cried, I want to make this movie," you have to let it go and let him do his thing. But he did. He said from the beginning he wanted Kate Winslet.
Now,
I wanted Tommy Lee Jones of 30 years ago. My Tommy Lee Jones,
And
which
Josh
of course
Brolin's
is
probably a pretty good.
He is. He is.
Now, is that the dream of an author?
We're
Is
gonna
that
start. You know,
we're
gonna
pie,
be.
then I'm asking you
So
some
I'm
more
just going to be.
questions.
We'll talk and bake. Which is, you know, one of the things that is my message about this pie is, it's not rocket science. You don't have to get all stressed. We're really talking about crust here.
Okay, so teach us how to do some crust.
We've got some apples here. It could be whatever fruit you like. But the thing that people get all worried about is their crust, and I don't. My mom was a great pie maker, and I learned from watching her. How do you think we're going to get this into this?
Well,
Well,
you're
I
brilliant.
saw the movie, so I
you
know the trick.
Yeah, the Josh Brolin method.
Great trick.
Here we go. Flip it over. You know, my pie does not look beautiful and perfect.
But that's usually when things taste the best.
It's flaky, and this is kind of like the state of Indiana or something. Am I worried about this? Absolutely not.
But this is kind of like goes with the story, which is it's less about how perfect the pie is and more about
life, you know, crumbles
together.
and
more
things
about the
fall off, and
content,
you
yeah.
patch it together again. So I'm pulling this paper back, and you know, if some bits fall off, no problem.
gonna squeeze them
I'm
together.
very messy making a pie, and life is messy. Little, I always say about as much minute tapioca as salt on a winter road, icy road.
Now,
I come from the state of New Hampshire.
While you're doing this, while you're mixing, I want to ask you what your reaction was the first time you saw the screening with an audience.
Oh, well, first of all, the first time I saw it was just with my two sons. And one of them, they cried.
Aww.
They were in there, they're 29 and 31 now.
Is that the dream every day that your book will one day become a movie?
Of course.
Is that the dream of every
this
author
actually
when
has
you're writing a
happened
book?
one other time,
Right.
my novel To Die For.
And so tell me how you felt when you saw it.
I cried, of course. And my son got up from his chair and he said, "That's your pie, Mom." And to have it made into a good movie, a terrific movie, is a bonanza. So I went to the theater and I just sat and listened to people. You know, men, you could hear them sort of.
You just went by yourself to the theater and
I
you
did.
sat there
I did.
on an
Because I
afternoon?
wanted to just see people seeing this story. And I've seen it now 3 times, and I still choke up.
You know what I thought was interesting last night, Joyce, was people were laughing a lot at certain moments.
Well, it's bittersweet. It's it's sad and it's funny, like life again. And you kind of know these people. You know, these people are both prisoners in their separate ways. They're
Exactly,
both
yeah.
people with
And the
big
son
time
kind of is a
hurts.
little bit too.
And they're all looking for family. Not in the, you know, the way that we grew up seeing it on TV, the perfect family. I'm rolling this out now thinner than you think. And look at this. I don't know if your cameras can show this, but I'm really happy with that. That's flakiness. And incidentally, you know the big controversy of pie.
What's that?
The big controversy is what's your shortening. Crisco or lard makes flaky crust. Butter makes more flavorful. What am I going to do?
You're going to put both of them together.
Of course I am. Of course I am. And you
Butter
are going to
makes
be
it better.
Kate Winslet, Lisa.
Okay.
Kate Winslet in
I'll
the,
be
in the
Josh
pie
Brolin.
scene, in this,
all right.
you know, which has been compared to
Next
We're going to mix them together with our hands.
The scene has been compared to that, you know, that pottery wheel scene in Ghost.
Yes.
I think it's the sexiest pie scene ever, maybe the sexiest baking scene ever.
This is
But
officially-
nobody takes off their apron. It's, you know, for your mom too.
The movie was sexy without sex, and the fact that you can write a story that makes people feel sexy and makes the characters sexy, but it's not gratuitous. That's impressive, Joyce.
That is a talent.
You know, there's a lot brewing there, and I sometimes think it's sexier to not show it.
Yeah, because you know he threw her up against a wall eventually.
So you know there's a moment in the film where they've got to this point,
Yes.
and now Kate has to put the crust
Yes.
on the top,
And she's
her hands
very
shake.
nervous.
She's a nervous woman.
Her
But
hands
I know you're
started
not.
shaking kind of when he
You
showed
have
up,
to commit.
right?
You can't stop partway. And I don't care if Josh Brolin is calling, you don't answer the phone at this
She's
moment.
gonna throw on the top, and then we're gonna go. Here we go.
1, 2, 3.
Look at that.
Go around
Okay,
here.
you guys,
Press it
You
down.
have a pie video on the internet that we're actually going to post
And
on
of
our
course,
site.
you know,
Walks us through all of this.
and an excerpt from my book, because of course, you know, the book is always the best.
Yes.
I
Joyce,
can't
thank
wait
you for
to
being
read it,
here.
Joyce.
They're going to finish making this pie, and you guys, you can pick up a copy of Joyce Maynard's book, Labor Day, wherever you buy your books. You guys, and that film, it's just so good as well. Labor Day, starring Josh Brolin and Kate Winslet. It opens in theaters next weekend, January 31st. If you don't want to watch the Super Bowl, just go
and then we
stare at
gotta
Josh
squish
Brolin.
it.
Okay. Well, National Pie Day, it doesn't end here. One of our favorite pie makers right here in DFW is here to show us what they've got. We are talking from the folks from Norma's Cafe. That's all happening when the broadcast continues.